Are there adding humor, or adding? I mean, what are some things? Where are some? Or do you have some examples of people who do some really creative things? I mean, you've talked to so many people about this.
Sure.
I'm just asking, like, what are some fun things that you could do to make some of these? You know, I have a Monday morning meeting, right? And it's everybody has a Monday morning meeting, and how do I get that to be more exciting?
So first of all, it's a neat question, because one of the things that we know is that the mood of a meeting actually matters. That when there's generally a positive mood state in the meeting, people tend to be more creative. They tend to listen to each other more carefully, and they tend to engage in more constructive decision making. So mood matters.
Okay.
Interestingly, the best predictor of collective mood is actually the mood state of the leader.
Right.
So what you bring into that room is really critical. Now, with kind of narrowing down my thinking, so what makes for a fun meeting?
Or is that necessary? I mean, like the question was really around the mood, right?
Okay.
How do
good. Yeah.
Like, how do you get it? You know, where people are uplifted, because
Sure.
that's what you want.
I like it. So I think the main thing is for a leader to kind of recognize that they're a host, and they are a host, right? They called this gathering together. So what are some of the things that a good host does? A host welcomes people. A host expresses appreciation. A host thanks people for giving them their time. A host makes introductions when people don't know each other. A host starts the meeting off strong, right? Really clarifying why everyone is there. And then sometimes, maybe you might be guessing where this is going, the best host has snacks.
There you go.
There's nothing wrong with having some snacks at a meeting. Right. But I do want to also circle back to something that you said, is that there's research that looks at humor in meetings.
Okay.
And what they find, so in general, humor comes in two flavors, right? There's the kind of the more friendly, constructive humor, and then there's this really biting humor that comes at the expense of others.
Right. Right.
Well, that constructive, more positive humor is actually associated with better meeting performance. So there's a clear linkage. So your meeting having some humor in it is a good thing. But I don't want leaders to feel like they have to manufacture this. It's similar to when I do training of teachers. Okay. You know, what I try to do when I train teachers is I say, you know, find your voice. Right? You don't need to copy my voice. Find your voice. How can you display passion? And passion can be displayed in lots of different ways. Passion is displayed by preparation.
Right.
Right? Passion is displayed by being focused and fully present. So there's lots of things that meetings leaders can do to create kind of a joyful environment. But I want to close this with one final thought around this question. That a high quality meeting leads to joy.
Yeah.
Right? So we often think that joy leads to high quality meeting. But when people feel their time is valued, when there's a good interaction, when that leader is facilitating, those things just promote a sense of positivity.
Indeed. No, that's so true. 1 minute, one quick question that just came up as I was thinking about this in today's world. So many people, and I think this is a huge challenge for organizations. So many people have remote workers now, and trying to bring remote teams together in a meeting online through, you know, Skype or Zoom or whatever the platform is that a challenge that, what's your take on that challenge?
Yeah. So, you know, remote meetings,
I know you got to go, but
no, it's fine. Remote meetings are absolutely wonderful for bringing folks together, you know, It bridges incredible distances. It's a wonderful innovation in meetings. But at the same time, dysfunction tends to elevate in these remote meetings. You know, when you do survey research of what's the most dysfunctional meeting type, people will typically say the remote meeting. But interestingly, if you do a survey saying, what meeting type do you most prefer to attend?
Remote meetings.
So why is that? Why do you think that's the case?
I'm perplexed.
So because they can multitask.
Ah, okay.
So they can do other things.
Yep.
Well, that gives you a really clear state of the problem. So therefore, a meeting leader kind of running a remote meeting, they have to take it to the next level. Okay. They have to do whatever they can to make these meetings more visible. So when people can just fade into the background, they experience something called social loafing, which is a reduction of their own personal effort in the face of others. Okay. And that's really what prompts this multitasking. So when at all possible, you do video-based, right? Leaders are really playing the role of an air traffic controller. They're calling folks out. They're saying, hey, Gordon, what are your thoughts about this? Sasha, I haven't heard from you. Tell me what you're thinking about this, right? So they're just being really active with the facilitation. They might even be keeping a record of who's talking and who's not talking because it's on them to try to address that. Right. They're thinking very carefully about, you know, who really needs to be there. I'm a big fan of changing the cadences around remote meetings. So keep them short and then have in between meeting time. So let's say we have a remote meeting to set up a problem, a challenge. Well, after that meeting, we could then throw a document in a Google Doc and tell people, hey, start generating solutions and start making comments on other people's solutions. And then we'll see where we're at. So you want to use meeting intervals more strategically because these remote meetings have some limitations and challenges. Right. And then one of the most controversial things that I've said in my book that has actually gotten me in trouble, but if you really read the book, it's not controversial, is I talk about how leaders and attendees of remote meetings should strive to have their meeting such that they do not need to push the mute button. Okay. Now, let's think about this for a moment. If you ban the mute button, what's then required of everyone?
They gotta talk.
They have to talk. They have to be in a quiet place. They can't be walking their dog. They can't be eating their lunch. They can't be going to the bathroom. They have to be present.
That's right.
So I like this idea of striving for a mute-free, you know, that the mute button is not an option. Because if you think about it, when we're in the workplace, right, people don't have to mute themselves when they're sitting in a meeting, right? They're quiet, right? They are present. So I want to work, and I think this is what I talk about in the book, are different strategies for doing this, is trying to create a remote meeting where everyone is truly present. Yeah.
Yeah. That's, I love the no mute button. But I'm guilty of the multitasking. I have to confess.
You're not alone. You're not alone.
Hey, this has been great. This has been a fantastic conversation, and so thank you so much for your time. The book is The Science of Meetings: How You Can Lead Your Team to Peak Performance. We'll put a link on the program notes to the show, to the book. And any final words on the book that you want to talk about?
I'd love for folks to come to my website, thesurprisingscience.com, or go to my website, stephenrogelberg.com. I have additional resources there. And I certainly hope that people will check out The Surprising Science of Meetings.
And you also speak. So if you can book that, you can be in contact with you through the website there if they want to have you come and give your talk, because I think it's pretty powerful. So thank you so much. Thank you, out there for spending your lunch hour or your morning with us, depending on where you are in the world. And we'll see you tomorrow afternoon at 12 noon. If you want to check out the upcoming schedule, it's powerlunch.live. And we also do conventions and events. We can bring the show on the road. So be in touch with us if you're interested in having a LinkedIn Live at your event or conference. And till tomorrow, have a good day. Go out and do good work.